Good morning. Thank you, Nick. My name is Erik Mørkrid. I'm a research manager in SINTEF Ocean, and I'm one of those who watched the match this night, Norway winning, which is really good, of course. Anyways, to the point, I have only 7 minutes, so I will try to be quick. We are the coordinator of the AUTOFLEX project, which is a sister project of the FORMAST project. And what we are focusing on in this project is to not only on developing the autonomous ship and the technology, but also on the logistics system and the transport system and building blocks of the transport system to enable the model shift. So please go to the next slide. Here we are trying to show the overall concept of the project. So this is showing a transport system, basically from where you have a rail or road transport in the beginning up there, and then you go to a terminal, typically what we call a stow and charge terminal or a temporary port terminal, which I will define in the coming slides. And then we also have something we define as mobile distribution centers, where smaller cargo units can be loaded directly onto smaller vehicles. And so we have put a vessel in the center here, which is a vessel that we have designed in the project. I also have a slide on that later on. So I think we can jump to the next slide, and then I will talk a bit about temporary port terminals. The idea behind temporary port terminals, I think, came originally from my good colleague in DFDS, Christopher Clock. There are a lot of quays around inland waterways in Europe that are no longer used for cargo transport. They are used for different purposes, for the public or for bulk transportation, or not being used at all. So the idea here in AUTOFLEX is to utilize these, so we don't have to invest in new infrastructure and then as such take more of the precious land we have. So if we can put up simple infrastructure on the existing quays, like reach stackers or similar, then we can handle containers to and from the small AUTOFLEX vessels. I forgot to mention that we in the project are focusing on SEM2, which is usually underutilized, especially around Belgium, Netherlands, where we are focusing. So please go to the next slide, where we have shown how the mobile distribution center concept might look like or will look like. So taking a standard 20-foot container, could also be a 40-foot, but we are focusing on 20-foot containers in this case. So if you divide that into smaller compartments, you have some ID control and stuff, then you can easily fit either pallets or the rolling units into this. So you can place this container pretty close to the city centers, and smaller vehicles can pick up the cargo units for further distribution. So in the whole idea is that we can then transport these with the AUTOFLEX vessels, and we discharge them on the temporary port terminals, and as such nicely put them into the existing logistics system. Then the next slide, we are developing what we call stow and charge, which basically means that since you're already doing the cargo operations, you might as well also have good solutions and standardized solutions for charging or for swapping. We are building our concept around swappable container batteries together with our partner Zero Emission Services. And the the example we're using here is North Sea Port, and together with the FPS, to see how we can efficiently do this, and then find out in the project where we should put these nodes in the transport system to be energy optimal and cost optimal. There are a couple of more points. I think I put some animation into the slides. If you can click 2 times, I think we'll have the rest of the slide also. Yeah, so I have already mentioned that, so I think we can jump to the next slide, where we have done a very comprehensive study in DST together with DFDS and also SINTEF has done, and also Fraunhofer done a very comprehensive study on where is the modal shift potential. So this figure here is trying to show where are the existing transport routes, and also where are the potential for the waterborne transport, and we focus on the west coast from Rotterdam, Delft, Taag, Leiden there. I think I would recommend to have a look at our deliverable D31 in the project, which can be found on the webpage to see more about this. So this is the basis for the study, on also on the business models for the project. So I think you can jump to the next slide, and where we are showing the Oscar 2.0 vessel that we have developed. It's called Oscar 2.0 because it's building on the original design for a SEM2 barge, which was designed by Oscar Teubert. So we took that original one and we have modified it to and optimized it for container transport and autonomous transport. So we removed the whole bridge superstructure, and we have then increased the capacity so we can transport 24 containers with this vessel. It's a SEM2 vessel, as I said already, and it's tailored for shallow drafts also, or shallow water. Next slide, please. Furthermore, we are developing the technology together with maritime robotics. So we are developing what we call a mission plan. So to put it very briefly, we in the ROC, the Remote Operations Center, you push the play button, and then the whole mission for the vessel is downloaded to the actual vessel, and it follows that plan throughout this voyage. So the mission plan includes all the different waypoints where you need to communicate with infrastructure, and also which berths to visit. So some of these pictures are from the demonstration we did in Trondheim with the maritime robotics drone that you can see here. Okay, time is flying, so I will jump to the next slide. We are combining all these things into a bigger demonstration now in this fall, most probably in November or October or November, where we will demonstrate autonomous navigation of a container vessel, of a commercial container vessel for CCNR level 3, starting in North Sea Port in Ghent, and then up the Ghent-Terneuzen Canal all the way to Terneuzen, and we will further go into the estuary of this shelter. So stay tuned for more information about this demonstration in the end. Then we can jump to the final slide, where I try to sum up what I've been saying. So we realized that we need to focus not only on the vessel design, but also on the transport system and also on the technology. So basically, the 3 really important building blocks in general are these 3. So transport system with temporary port terminals, stow and charge, and mobile distribution centers, which would enable the model shift, the optimized Oscar 2.0 vessel for autonomy and electric propulsion, and the mission plan and ROC supervision to enable the actual CCN or level 3 autonomy. Then the next slide is including our QR code for our homepage, but that has already been shared in the chat. I could see. So then that concludes my presentation in the next slide. More or less on time, I think, Nick. And, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Erik. Well done. Also, well done, Norway. You don't have yet a haircut like Mr. Haaland has, or is it not your ambition?
It's not my ambition.
A nice presentation. The question that comes up to me and probably and hopefully other people also have questions. Well, I guess the same questions arises as in the Formas project. Where is the market today? Some of your innovations are really, I would say, for the long term. And on the other hand, AUTOFLEX is about smaller vessels sailing in smaller waterways. The traditional usual suspects in inland navigation wants bigger vessels, and they want better maintained small waterways. Why well, better maintained? Because they are not maintained. So still a lot of work to do, I guess.
Yeah, we are also focusing a lot on the business models, of course. So and we know that. So we are doing also a simulation study to look at the TCO, total cost of operation or ownership. So, but we also know that the economy of scale is a challenge. So that's why we try now to look at the fleet perspective of these smaller vessels.
We have a question in the chat, if I may jump, Nick, from Vicky. Vicky, either you ask your question directly or I can do it for you. So our consideration around the transport of dangerous goods being integrated into current work on autonomous vessels.
Yeah, it's Nick here, please.
I see CEFIC. CEFIC is the association representing the chemical industry in Europe. So they use a lot of inland waterway transport, but indeed, dangerous goods for them is a very key topic.
Yeah, so just to try to answer to that from my perspective is I think autonomous ships would be an enabler in a better way for transport, also for dangerous goods in terms of not having people on board as well. But we have also been discussing in the project whether the battery containers would be considered as dangerous goods. So these are also things that are being discussed with, among others, CCNR and BNF, more of these organizations.
If I just may add, then in response to the question,
van die maximale dosis is het dan heel veel pompen van je moet.
Maybe just as a response to the question then from Germany, at least there is a working group from the German chemical industry discussing this. So obviously there is a genuine interest from their side, so consignor's side, to push this. Of course, this is not coming tomorrow or the day after tomorrow because of regulations, because of a lot of concerns, but at least there is potential visible for these people.
If I may, Nick, I want to say something from the point of the regulatory framework within the ADN Safety Committee of the UNECE in Geneva. last year, a temporary working group has been established, especially dealing with this topic of the transport of dangerous goods on autonomous vessels. And the main objective of this working group, where not only member states are being represented in, but also the sector, is to create a regulatory framework in the first phase, allowing pilot projects on the Rhine, so with autonomous vessels carrying dangerous goods, and that's more for the long term, is really to see how we can, or not only can or should, adapt the ADN regulation to allow or to integrate the concept of autonomous vessels into the ADN regulation. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with the group.
Yes, sir. You're muted, Nick.
Vicky, is this of any help to you? Clear enough the answer? Do you want to learn something more?
In fact, thank you so much for replying to my question. It's indeed because with CEFIC, a lot of our members, they deal with dangerous goods. And I just wanted to know what is the discussion, if there's any recent updates, etc. So thank you very much. And I'm sure I will reach out to some people in this call for further discussions afterwards. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Listen.
So that's a topic for the Geneva meetings, I guess, Sim.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, okay.
But feel free to contact me if you have any further questions. And maybe also, and that's just very short, in Flanders, we just recently have granted the first permit for a pilot project with dangerous goods. It hasn't started yet, but this is also a milestone.
But to be more specific, is it on a tanker vessel or is it dangerous goods in containers? And then?
I don't know, but I think my colleague Erik Mørkrid is also in the meeting. Okay. And if he's here, maybe he can answer it. Erik?
Listen, thanks. Indeed, yes. In Flanders, we have our first experimental agreement granted for MTS motor tank ship Walcheren, which is a small vessel dedicated to transport sulfuric acid. But in the vision of the Vlaamse Waterweg, we said that an equal level of safety must be achieved and to allow this vessel to sail. And for that reason, well, actually, it is about sailing this vessel with the same crew as in A1 exploitation mode for A2 exploitation, which is 18 hours instead of the normal 14 hours with the same crew on board. That's the ambition of the project. But this means that for this smaller vessel, you have the boatmaster on board together with a sailor. And at the moment that the boatmaster on board is in rest, it means that the sailor is in the wheelhouse to take over the ship, because it's remotely controlled. So you have a remote operator sailing with the ship, but the sailor is then in the wheelhouse to keep the safety. And we put some conditions on the maturity of this sailor, We defined that, and at the moment we are looking into filling in that to prove that maturity for a specific sailor, and that's we are in the phase of defining that, or helping the pilot project forwards by actually what it means is that the sailor must comply with the competences approved for sailors from 2022. Where actually a sailor is able to keep a vessel into safe mode, and we require that minimum requirement to grant the equal level of safety, and we are now in the process of answering that question. Let's say to get the project going. Yes, thanks.
SIM works for the Flemish government, mobility, and I don't know the rest of the
mobility and public works.
Yeah, and Erik works for Flemish waterway infrastructure manager, de Vlaamse Waterweg.
Thank you. Thank you very much.